Disney theme parks and I go way back. On this occasion, it was a trip to Walt Disney World. For you Philistines that constantly confuse the parks, Walt Disney World is the one in Florida. The Midwest delegation consisted of my mom, dad, sister, her boyfriend Jeremy, and the combined child brigade of Paige, RJ, Will, Addie, and Aaron. My Uncle Jack and Aunt Meg joined the posse at the parks, bringing our party's grand total to 12. It was time to enter into the magic of the parks, complete with generous fireworks, exquisitely detailed queue lines, and biometric scanners.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Our hotel was Wilderness Lodge, an authentic-looking yet faux wooden fort-style structure, complete with hearth fires, totem poles, and electric chandeliers. I was staying with my parents in a room all the way at the end of the hall. This added about a mile to our commute whenever we left, and the seemingly endless hallway actually reminded me of the Haunted Mansion, assuming it was properly lit. This was our base of operations, our launching pad for missions deep into the exotic lands that lay before us. Over the course of our stay, we would spend our time bouncing back and forth between the different parks, depending on what shows we wanted to see, what attractions were still on our to-do list, and which fine dining establishments we desired to patronize. With our maps, cameras, and sunscreen at the ready, we bravely sallied forth into the valley of intense cheerfulness. You know what I think of when I think of Walt Disney World? Well, yes, that. But really, the main thing is Cinderella's castle, the centerpiece of the park and a handy landmark for lost tourists wandering about. It sits smack dab in the center of the park and serves as a prime location for shows, both during the day and during the night. And legend has it that if you are a good boy or girl, you just might see the mysterious magical helpers who keep the castle clean and running properly each day. Then again, you're really not missing much. A big part of the Magic Kingdom is the seemingly endless array of parades and shows that sprout up out of nowhere. One of the most memorable for me was a show at the castle which featured walk-around characters with actual moving mouths and blinking eyes. Despite what you might think, this actually made the characters less freaky, because I mean, really, the alternative is a parade of frozen grins, like people dancing around in mounted heads. Now, when it comes to the best rides of the park, or attractions as the official lexicon refers to them, I'm reminded of the classic saying, there are as many opinions as there are people. Some would choose Space Mountain, the timeless classic of sharp turns and twists in a star-filled set of tracks. Others point to Splash Mountain, with its watery plume plunging into the Briar Patch. Still others might even choose the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse for the best attraction. Because, well, what's more fun than a really long queue line in which you're always moving forward? Trust me, in this place, it is truly a thing of wonder. For me, though, this trip was all about Speedway. Normally, this isn't such a top priority for me, but in this case, I was desperately looking forward to pretending that I was filming footage for a nail-biting car chase sequence. At night, the park turns into a celebration of electronic lights and images, including the iconic Main Street Electrical Parade. The floats remain beautiful, the music catchy, and the parade of classic Disney characters nostalgic. The parade does have a few notable quirks, however. For example, I wonder how many people under the age of 25 recognize this as Elliot, the cartoon dragon from the film Pete's Dragon. Likewise, Smee is facing the wrong way to properly row, and this gentleman is just plain not electrical enough. Even so, the parade remains a must-see, and finishes up with a float so patriotic you'll be crying Stars and Stripes tears in admiration. A new night show I hadn't seen before was Celebrate the Magic, an impressive castle light show. This one tracks through a wide variety of Disney films, both classic and modern. And while not exactly an official part of the show, I noticed that it also had its own form of a Main Street Electrical Parade. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention their Wishes Nighttime Spectacular. which really, if you'll pardon the expression, ends with a bang. Epcot, as legend has it, stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. This was supposedly originally to be a residential area, but after Walt Disney's passing, plans changed and it became a theme park. Currently, I would classify it as an educational theme park, given that the vast majority of its attractions deal with some form of knowledge expansion. To be sure, there are a number of rides that are there just for the thrill of it, but a lot of the attractions are actually all about sitting down and listening to lectures, which, strange as it is to say, is not nearly as boring as you might think. Epcot takes the love of subdivision that the other parks have and raises it to a new level. First, it is split into the front half and the back half. The front is Future World, which is further split into Future World East and Future World West. The back half is called World Showcase, hosting locations called pavilions, currently featuring 11 different countries. Future World focuses on, not surprisingly, technology, with most of its attractions detailing the different aspects of energy, communications, and ice cream. World Showcase, on the other hand, is really a celebration of eating. Okay, yes, a number of the pavilions have their own rides, like Mexico's boat tour, which temporarily turned into bumper boats, as well as examples of a country's history, culture, and architecture, but seriously, it's mainly about damn good eating. Epcot's own evening show is Illuminations, Reflections of Earth, complete with fireworks, high-intensity lights, and a giant LCD globe that splits open to reveal that the Earth's core is really just a flame on a pneumatic riser. Such deep revelations can only make you think seriously about mankind's kinship with each other across all continents and cultures, until you're distracted by the pretty lights in the ground on the way out. Ah, Hollywood Studios. I actually remember back when it was MGM Studios, but keeping the name of a bankrupt entity on a park probably isn't the best way to get people excited about a visit. As one can guess, the attractions here are almost all tied into various media properties, be it Star Wars, The Twilight Zone, or even Aerosmith. If there is any one downside to this particular park, it's that while it has a number of high-profile rides, there is usually a hefty wait time attached. So, you may wind up spending a lot of time at the park without hitting a lot of attractions. All the same, those attractions are usually well worth the wait. As you can guess by now, almost all of the Disney parks have some kind of night show filled with fireworks and waterworks and armies of character actors. Hollywood Studios is no different, with Fantasmic being the centerpiece. Certainly, it is an impressive spectacle, and you are sitting close enough to be dusted in the sulfur residue from the fireworks. Again, what I found most captivating was the sea of lights within the audience. Given the inherent pun in the name Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, the Animal Kingdom, get it? I was surprised, and a little disappointed, that they didn't name the sections of the park things like Chordata Land, a Thropoda World, or a Kynodermata Town. Also, there is a bit of false advertising. See on the sign, the silhouette of the dragon? I am saddened to report that here, there be no dragons. As opposed to the Magic Kingdom's approach of scores of attractions based on famed and highly merchandisable Disney properties, Animal Kingdom is built mainly around the idea of a zoo, only far less boring. Of course, we didn't travel several hundred miles just to visit a zoo, but rather to hit up some e-ticket rides like Expedition Everest and Cali River Rapids. While we did catch all of our bucket list items, I admit I was a bit sad about missing the show where apparently a giant wild bear devours Mickey, Donald, and Donald's nephews. I heard it's the highest rated show in the park. The Disney water park that we wound up visiting was called Blizzard Beach, containing a good-sized wave pool and various water slides. Now, while I did have a chance to partake in several of the water slides, I figured that bringing my camera with me would not be the most advisable of situations, not to mention probably prohibited. Hence, the camera was soon safely stashed away. As we all know, what happens at Blizzard Beach stays at Blizzard Beach. Downtown Disney is a collection of shops and restaurants. If you've been to an outdoor mall, you'll have a good idea as to what to expect. Since this is still Disney property, people will still occasionally burst into song and dance numbers, but otherwise, the main pastime is the other classic Disney tradition of passing money to the tellers. After we had all binged on shopping, we gathered out by the bus stop and waited for Casey and Jeremy to return from their child-free dinner. Since my sister was involved, they were, of course, late. But given that the delay was a result of them getting officially engaged, I let it slide. Finally, after about a week of frolicking and gambling throughout the large swath of drained and seriously developed swampland, we had to gather up our meager possessions and reluctantly exit the magic of the parks. The parks provide some of the best escapist entertainment in the world. From the classic rides, to the extravagant shows, to the detail crafted into every aspect of the environment, there is truly something for everyone. While the real world certainly has its fair share of attractions catering to specific age groups, the Disney parks offer one of the few meccas of honest family entertainment. They make no bones about catering for those seeking fun for all ages, and as a result, they have built an empire of goodwill and fond memories. There is a good chance that I'll return to the parks, maybe even several times. Even if I don't, however, I certainly gathered up enough joy and even creative inspiration from my most recent excursion to last quite a while. And really, isn't that the whole point of the trip?